Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Like every working class citizen, I don't have to go into work today. So what I'd like to do is ride my motorcycle. But being as how I own a home, there are certain duties or shall I call them chores, that need to be done, and one of those is mowing the grass. But thanks to the magic of video editing, with a snap of my fingers, the grass will be mowed, and then we can go ride the motorcycle. We're all done. Oh no, monkey! Monkey! The monkey pool. Stay. I decided I wanted to talk about an experience that I had recently with something called ground bees, or nesting bees. You can see them down in there. They've come back. Well, how about we get on the bike and talk about it?
We're scared to be lonely.
On the bike. Oh, it feels good. It's been relatively chilly the last few days. We actually have a day in the 70s, so it got pretty hot and sweaty mowing the grass. So let's talk about these bees. I had no idea that these bees even existed. They're effectively yellow jackets, but instead of having like a hive up in a tree somewhere in a bush or whatever, they nest in the ground. They're known as grounding bees or nesting bees or mud bees. I've heard a few different names for these things, but they are nasty little buggers. So about a month ago, I discovered a relatively large hole in my yard. And I just assumed, it was like, some rabbits or maybe even a groundhog. No, I haven't seen a groundhog around my house, ever. I mowed over this hole a couple times, nothing happened, nothing came out, so I went and I got some dirt, and I filled the hole in. About a week goes by, and I discovered a much smaller hole in the hole that I had filled. But this time, I see these little bees flying in and out of it. I'm like, huh, alright. But I only saw like 1 or 2 bees, so again, I didn't really think much of it. I mowed the grass. Nothing really happened. So I filled that little hole in. And fast forward another week or so, and then there's not 1 but 2 small holes. Now I'm thinking, okay, definitely bees. Definitely bees. Well, this time, while I'm mowing, they weren't aggressive or anything like that. I was able to mow right over the hole, no big deal. Or the holes. I was able to mow over the holes, no big deal. After I was done mowing, I got some more dirt, I filled those holes in. Next thing you know, 3 holes appear. So at this point I'm just getting frustrated. But again, I needed to cut the grass. You have a stop sign? Cool beans, man. So I go to cut the grass again, but this time I get stung. I get stung right in the back of my right knee. I haven't been stung by a bee in a really long time. I mean, in all honesty, I think I might have been 5 or 6 years old the last time I got stung. And it was from stepping on a bumblebee. So it had been a long time since I had felt that type of pain before. And of course, a number of expletives wanted to rush out of my mouth, but my son was outside with his friends, so like a responsible adult, I went inside and then began to scream every swear word known to man. I calmed down a little bit to go back outside to grab the lawnmower because I was done. I wasn't going to mess around. I got stung. I'm done. I'm not cutting the grass anymore. Do it another time. I start pulling the lawnmower away, and bam! I get stung again. This time in my left heel. But this time, like the stinger in the first sting wasn't in my skin. The second sting, though, it was definitely in there. And I pulled that out, and I'm looking. It's like pumping. After I pulled it out, you just see it. Screw you, Pierce. Screw you, Pierce. I hope you're in so much pain, Pierce. So I go inside. I'm like, ah! Well, let me tell you what. My heel swelled up like a balloon. I'm a skinny guy, but I'll tell you what, man. I had a cankle to rule all cankles. So I do a little research on these nesting bees or ground bees, and some like home remedies. You know, people were suggesting keep the area around their nest wet. They prefer dry dirt over wet dirt. So a couple times per day I go out with the hose and I water that specific part of my yard. But the bees keep coming back. Like, no matter how much I water the yard there, the bees just keep coming back. Well, a Terminix guy who was over at a friend's house had suggested I use hot water with soap and dump that in the hole. My family and I were planning on going to Canada, kind of the last vacation of the year, to visit my parents. So the night before my family and I leave for vacation, I get a hot, soapy bucket of water, and I dump it down the hole, and I say to myself, well, we'll check and see what it's like when we get back from Canada. We get back from Canada, and there are so many bees. There are more bees than when I left. So at this point I know water's not gonna help. Hot soapy water's not gonna help. So let's go, you know, the pesticide route. So I go out to the hardware store, I pick up some pesticide, and I got this container, man. This had a lot of powder in it. And my dad was like, get the powder stuff. That stuff works really well. So I get the powder stuff, big container of it. And over the course of another 5 or 6 days, I apply this powder to the hole. But the bees are like giving me the middle finger, the middle stinger, as it were. And they just keep digging new holes. Now, over the course of this whole debacle, a few of my friends and co-workers have suggested, oh, just light them on fire, that'll get rid of them. You know, and most of the time they said it jokingly. I didn't consider it a viable solution. Well, I had enough. I had poured an entire container of pesticide powder down their holes. That didn't work. I grabbed my gas can and I go strolling out to the bee holes. Now, let me just quickly add that never in the year and a half that I've lived at my house has a state trooper driven by, but of course my luck, as I'm walking through my yard with a can of gas, wearing sweatpants, sandals, and socks, that would be the time that a state trooper drives by. That state trooper and I, we locked eyes in the most awkward exchange of looks. But he continued on his way, didn't ask any questions, thankfully. I pour gas down the hole, I light the piece of paper on fire, I apply the lit paper to the hole, that sucker goes up. I let it burn for 2 minutes, and bam, bees are gone. Just like that. But of course, I don't know if it came out on the video or not earlier, but I just discovered more bees. It's been a couple weeks since I did that, and there are now bees. Oh, that's a stop sign I wasn't expecting. Whew. So anyways, on this fine Labor Day Monday, it's probably not Monday when you're watching this, or Labor Day for that matter, but I just wanted to share my experience of nesting bees and how to properly get rid of them. Water didn't work, soapy water didn't work, pesticide powder didn't work, but you know what did work? A fiery inferno of death is what worked. So if you find yourself with bees in your yard, just light the sons of bitches on fire. I hope everybody got something out of that little story. If you like the video, you know what to do. There's that little, you know, thumb thing. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but there's that little thumb thing. Make sure you click that. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm gonna continue saying it. Liking and subscribing, it helps the channel out. So please make sure you do that if you haven't done so already. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Later. Sup?